Genoa City and Los Angeles are bracing for full-scale chaos as several explosive storylines collide across the young and the restless. At the center of the storm is Victor Newman, whose war on multiple fronts is pushing the Newman powerhouse to his limits. In Los Angeles, Victor's bold cash offer backfires spectacularly, triggering a violent shift in Matt Clark's psychological warfare. Matt corners Noah and Sienna, escalating his reign of terror just as Victor launches his riskiest trap yet. Sharon and Nick, desperate for their son's safety, reluctantly back Victor's plan, even as they question whether he's gone too far. Back in Genoa City, Victor faces a different threat. New evidence emerges that could expose him to criminal charges. While Victor is busy fighting for control, Kane Ashby and Phyllis Summers implode just as their intense chemistry begins to crackle. Their almost romance burns out fast as betrayal, ambition, and bruised egos rise to the surface, leaving both scrambling to regain the upper hand. Meanwhile, the Jabot-Newman war enters its most dangerous phase. Jack Abbott considers a shocking nuclear option, temporarily shutting down Jabot to outmaneuver Victor once and for all. The gamble could either save the company or destroy everything the Abbotts have built. With Noah and Sienna risking everything to escape Matt's grip, Victor spiraling between brilliance and recklessness, Kane and Phyllis turning passion into warfare, and Jack preparing his boldest business strike yet, both cities are on the brink of upheaval. Major betrayals, shifting alliances, and life-or-death stakes are about to redefine every power player involved. Stay tuned, this is the kind of Y&R week where no one walks away untouched. Welcome to Celebrity Gossip 24 Hours, where the drama unfolds and the stories captivate. Join us as we delve into the intriguing world of Young and the Restless, revealing the untold tales and hidden truths behind the headlines. Y&R News Update: Victor goes to war as Noah and Sienna risk everything. Matt Clark's reign of terror explodes in LA. The Young and the Restless is launching one of its darkest story arcs in years, and the latest developments in Los Angeles push every character to their breaking point. What began as a desperate search for Noah Newman has now transformed into a dangerous chess match with a villain who keeps escalating, and Wednesday's episode delivers a chilling escalation as Victor Newman steps into the battlefield personally. With Noah and Sienna fighting for survival, Sharon and Nick racing against time, and Matt Clark spiraling deeper into obsession, the stakes have never been higher. This recap-style news story breaks down the episode into a smooth, original narrative without copying the televised script, while giving fans the emotional beats and suspense they want. Victor Newman lands in LA and declares war. After days of unanswered questions and ominous clues, Victor Newman finally arrives in Los Angeles and wastes no time inserting himself into the crisis surrounding Noah's disappearance. His presence immediately shifts the tone. This is no longer just a frantic search by grieving parents, but a high-level strike launched by Genoa City's most formidable power player. Upon arriving, Victor goes straight to the one man he blames for the chaos, the enigmatic and increasingly unhinged Mitch, whose true identity as Matt Clark is slowly becoming impossible for him to hide. Instead of approaching with subtlety, Victor confronts him head-on, demanding to know what he has done with Noah. In typical Matt fashion, he hides behind smugness and thinly veiled taunts, insisting he has no information while lacing every word with malice. Yet Victor makes it clear that he isn't there for polite conversation. He offers Matt a substantial deal, a king's ransom, according to Victor, in exchange for Noah's safe return. But Matt rejects the offer outright, proof that this situation is no longer about money. This is personal for him, and his vendetta is growing more dangerous with every hour. Victor leaves the encounter with a dire conclusion: Matt isn't just toying with Nick and Sharon anymore. He's escalating into territory that could end in real tragedy. Inside the warehouse aftermath, Nick and Sharon can't walk away. Meanwhile, Nick and Sharon continue searching the grounds of an abandoned warehouse where authorities previously found disturbing evidence but not their son. The grim scene weighs heavily on them both, especially knowing how close they might have come to finding Noah. When the detectives declare there is no chance Noah is inside, frustration and despair take over. The situation grows more complicated when a mysterious homeless man approaches with claims that he might have seen Noah earlier, disoriented, barely able to keep his eyes open, and accompanied by a woman. His description raises more questions than answers. Sharon and Nick suspect that someone paid this man to feed them misleading information, and the uncertainty eats away at them. For every clue they uncover, another layer of deception seems to appear. Nick leans into determination, refusing to believe Matt is ahead of them. But Sharon's anxiety grows stronger. Every passing minute solidifies the terrifying possibility that Matt may intend to finish what he started years ago, and target Noah anew. Noah and Sienna fight back as fear turns to strategy. Elsewhere in LA, Noah and Sienna remain trapped in a ramshackle storage room, their hope flickering but never fully extinguished. Their fear is palpable, especially after realizing that Sienna's once charming husband, or so she believed, is in fact Matt Clark, a man capable of violence and manipulation far beyond anything she imagined. Despite their physical exhaustion and emotional strain, Noah and Sienna lean on each other to stay grounded. Their conversations reveal guilt, fear, and unresolved feelings. Noah struggles with the emotional fallout of betraying Allie, while Sienna mourns the realization that the man she married was deceiving her from the beginning. But the pair refuses to give up. When Noah spots Sienna's lightning bolt necklace, a memento from her late brother, he sees more than sentimental value, he sees a tool. Their determination transforms into action as they use the metal pendant to loosen the hinges of the door holding them captive. The process is slow, risky, and fueled by raw hope, but both cling to the belief that freedom is possible. Their chemistry, desperation, and resolve drive one of the episode's most gripping sequences. Every push on the hinge feels like a push toward reclaiming their lives. Finally, they free the last hinge pin. The door comes loose. For a moment, the characters and the audience can almost feel the relief. But the moment the door swings open, all hope collapses. Standing on the other side are Matt Clark and Detective Burrow, confirming every suspicion Noah voiced earlier. The escape failed before it even started, and Matt's presence promises that whatever comes next won't be mercy. Victor reunites with Nick and Sharon, and formulates a new strategy. After his encounter with Matt, Victor tracks down Nick and Sharon at their hotel. The reunion offers a brief emotional relief, but it quickly shifts into strategy. Victor informs them that Matt doubled down on his lies, claiming Sienna is a drug addict who has supposedly dragged Noah into some twisted spiral. Nick immediately rejects the accusation, he knows both Noah and Sienna too well to believe it. Sharon agrees, pointing out that neither exhibited any signs of drug use during their recent hospital tests or interactions. This leads them back to the same conclusion: Matt is manipulating every detail to generate chaos and distract them. Now armed with Victor's first-hand account of Matt's behavior, the three come together to reassess their plan. The arrival of the homeless informant, the detective's vague explanations, and Matt's constant deflection have created a web of half-truths. They realize someone close to the investigation may be working with Matt. Victor, however, refuses to be outmaneuvered. He informs them that he already has an idea, one that doesn't rely on the unreliable LA detectives and one that Matt will not see coming. Although he doesn't share specifics, it's clear he intends to escalate things to the next level. No one makes a silent enemy of Victor Newman and comes out unscathed. Matt Clark and Detective Burrow plot their next move. Back at the Shadow Room, Matt and Detective Burrow regroup after their respective encounters. The detective updates Matt on how effectively their planted informant manipulated Nick and Sharon, a twisted psychological tactic that plays perfectly into Matt's desire to torment the Newmans emotionally. Matt's reaction is as disturbing as ever. Instead of feeling threatened by Victor's arrival, he feels inspired, almost reveling in the increasing danger. His fixation on punishing Noah for betrayal is growing darker by the hour. Burrow, though clearly nervous, remains complicit and willing to carry out whatever comes next. Matt declares it's time to level up, signaling that he intends to shift from manipulation to action, a grim foreshadowing of what awaits Noah and Sienna now that their escape attempt has been exposed. A storm closing in. The episode ends with every storyline tightening. Noah and Sienna's failed escape leaves them in more danger than ever. Nick and Sharon are armed with new knowledge but stuck with few real leads. Victor is preparing a counterstrike unlike anything Matt anticipates. Matt and Burrow are becoming more unstable, unpredictable, and ruthless. As the search intensifies and the walls close in, one thing becomes clear: LA is about to become the battleground for a confrontation that could change the Newman family forever. Today's next update. YNR News: Victor toasts to chaos as Kane corners Phyllis, and Jack faces his biggest Chabot gamble yet. The battle lines inside Genoa City are shifting again, and Tuesday's episode delivers a perfect storm of corporate warfare, rekindled tensions, and emotional confrontations. From Victor's smug celebration at society to Kane's bold ultimatum that forces Phyllis into a corner, the canvas is heating up as rivalries ignite on all sides. Meanwhile, Jack finds himself contemplating the most drastic move Chabot has ever faced, and Victoria begins to fear the worst about her family. Here's a full breakdown of the day's escalating drama, in a fresh, original recap designed for news coverage and YouTube-safe commentary. Jack considers shutting down Chabot, a last resort that could rewrite family history. At the Abbott estate, Jack and Diane engage in one of their most serious marital debates yet. Jack's plan to temporarily pull Chabot offline, effectively shutting down operations, has shaken the family to its core. It's a move that risks everything: revenue, stability, and John Abbott's legacy. Diane worries that the emotional cost alone could be devastating. But Jack sees no alternative. Adamant that Victor's interference is intended to provoke rash decisions, Jack believes the only way to protect the company is to wipe the playing field clean and rebuild without Newman's sabotage lurking in the shadows. Diane, however, is eager to expose Victor's alleged wrongdoing and sees the offline window as their chance to collect evidence and come out swinging. What neither spouse admits aloud is the fear they share: if Jack miscalculates, Chabot may never recover. Victor wastes no time stirring the pot at society. Over at society, Billy wanders in just as Audra steps out in a cloud of frustration. Joining Sally, Billy learns that Audra's Thanksgiving is shaping up to be a lonely one. Instead of dwelling on it, he shifts the conversation to Abbott Communications, a project he's thrown himself into with surprising enthusiasm. Sally teases him about his new, sober and serious reputation, but the banter is cut short when Victor Newman enters the room with unmistakable swagger. Victor's arrival immediately changes the atmosphere. He wastes no time reminding Billy of his past mistakes, subtly implying that he expects more slip-ups in the future. When Billy and Sally leave the bar, Victor settles in for his favorite pastime, needling the Abbotts. Right on cue, Jack and Diane arrive. Instead of steering clear, Jack confronts Victor head-on, referencing Kane's recent professional troubles and accusing Victor of orchestrating them. Victor brushes it all off with an infuriating calm, even offering a smug toast in honor of Kane's downfall. Whether he's bluffing or admitting involvement, the message is clear: Victor feels firmly in control of the battlefield. Audra takes a risk, but Nate isn't ready to look back. At Crimson Lights, Victoria pauses for a brief chat with Nate before Audra walks in and immediately locks eyes on the pair. Her expression makes it obvious that she's still haunted by her past choices, and still hoping that Nate might forgive her. The moment Victoria steps away, Audra seizes her chance. She approaches Nate with a disarming mix of vulnerability and determination, reminding him of the love they once shared and asking for an opportunity to rebuild. Nate acknowledges the feelings that once existed, but he doesn't budge. Betrayal destroyed the foundation of their relationship, and in his eyes, trust isn't something that can be negotiated or rushed. Audra leaves visibly shaken, confronted with the reality that some bridges stay burned no matter how hard you try to cross them. Victoria receives a cryptic assignment from Victor. Victoria's day takes an unsettling turn when she meets her father moments later. Victor informs her that he must leave town immediately for Los Angeles, a sudden departure that raises every alarm in her mind. When she guesses the emergency involves Nick and Noah, Victor refuses to confirm or deny it, offering only reassurance that he will handle whatever awaits him. He leaves the company in her hands, but Victoria senses something far worse than a business matter is unfolding. The uncertainty follows her out of society like a dark cloud. Kane cornered and conflicted, and Phyllis is the only one who can save herself. Meanwhile, at the athletic club, tensions between Kane and Phyllis reach a breaking point. Kane reveals he has already offered his AI company to Victor for next to nothing, a startling admission that leaves Phyllis questioning whether he's lost faith in everything he's built. But Kane insists he's simply acknowledging the cost of corruption. To him, burning down what's tainted is the only way to start clean. Then Kane drops the bombshell. He believes Phyllis stole proprietary technology and handed it to Victor. Phyllis denies it, but Kane refuses to be manipulated. He challenges her directly, insisting she choose a side and prove her loyalty if she wants any future with him, professionally or otherwise. What shakes Phyllis the most is Kane's clarity about his past. He admits that Lily, Dumas, and all his previous entanglements are behind him. A fresh start means no shadows, no secrets, and no bargaining with devils. If Phyllis wants to be part of his next chapter, he needs the truth. Phyllis, feeling the pressure and the promise, finally cracks. She admits that she wants a future where her name stands for success rather than scandal, a future where she gets to be the star instead of the cautionary tale. After a long hesitation, she agrees to tell Kane everything. What she reveals, and how Kane reacts, could shift the entire power dynamic in Genoa City. The road ahead. With Jack risking Jabot's future, Victor stirring chaos on multiple fronts, Victoria growing increasingly anxious, and Phyllis preparing to expose her own role in the corporate war, the storyline is tumbling towards several explosive turning points. As the Newmans and Abbotts brace for impact, one thing is certain: the next moves will decide who rises and who gets pulled under. Today's next update. YNR News, Victor on the edge. Could new evidence send the Newman Titan to prison? A storm is gathering over Genoa City, and this time, even Victor Newman may not be powerful enough to defy it. The business mogul has skirted the law for decades, but his latest maneuver, involving a stolen AI program, may finally be the misstep that exposes him. With multiple rivals quietly aligning behind the scenes and one potential whistleblower about to crack, the possibility of Victor facing real legal consequences is becoming harder to ignore. This week, The Young and the Restless delivers a tense mix of corporate sabotage, broken trust, and unlikely alliances, and at the center of it all stands Victor, ready to strike yet dangerously close to a fall of his own making. Jack and Diane brace for cyber warfare. Jabot has weathered some fierce battles across generations, but nothing quite like the digital attack looming over it now. Jack Abbott, after days of wrestling with dwindling options, has reached a dramatic conclusion. If Victor truly intends to use the stolen AI system to infiltrate their servers, Jabot may need to pull the plug entirely, even if it means shutting down their entire digital infrastructure temporarily. It's a high-stakes defensive move, one that risks freezing operations and damaging the company's financial stability. But the alternative could be worse. An AI-driven breach could access proprietary formulas, financials, and strategic files, leaving Jabot vulnerable in ways that traditional sabotage never could. Diane, meanwhile, is pursuing a different angle. She sees Victor's alleged weaponization of the program as a crime waiting to be proven, and she's determined not to let him hide behind denials. Her plan: gather evidence, build a case, and expose whatever covert activity Victor is attempting. The Abbotts want to protect their legacy, but they're also ready to make the mustache answer for crossing the line. Kyle, holding on to his own resentment toward Victor, appears eager to help, and Billy's distrust of the Newmans has only heightened with the threat hanging over Abbott communications. If Diane succeeds in proving Victor's involvement, she may unite more allies than she ever expected. A growing coalition of enemies. Could Victor finally face justice? Victor Newman has a long list of adversaries, but rarely have their goals aligned so perfectly. If Diane can produce tangible proof, server logs, recorded admissions, or a paper trail linking Victor to the AI's deployment, several Genoa City residents may rally behind the chance to finally bring the patriarch down. Billy would relish seeing Victor pay for his constant meddling, particularly with Abbott Communications entering its infancy. Phyllis, scarred by years of conflict with Victor and enduring fresh turmoil related to Arabesque, has more than enough motivation. Even Adam and Nikki, each aware in their own ways of Victor's ethical decline, are dangerously close to becoming silent witnesses in a crime that could have consequences for them too. The question now isn't just whether Victor is guilty, but whether his enemies are ready to pursue justice in a way they never have before. Phyllis's moment of truth, the confession that could change everything. While the Abbotts prepare their separate plans, another key player finds herself standing at a crossroads. Phyllis Summers, who has danced along the line between self-preservation and self-destruction more times than she can count, is being pushed toward a confession that may determine the fate of nearly every major storyline. She knows the stolen AI originated with her. She also knows Victor weaponized it after she handed it over, behavior that could lead to charges if anyone made the right call to law enforcement. But pressure is mounting. A rare chance at redemption and partnership is dangling in front of her, emotionally and professionally. And the person pushing her hardest isn't offering anger, but opportunity, as long as she stops hiding. The stakes are enormous. If she comes forward, she could open the door to legal immunity. She could also introduce the critical evidence Jack and Diane need to bring Victor down. Her confession could be the missing link between suspicion and prosecution. But honesty comes with risk, and Phyllis has built a lifetime of defenses that are hard to tear down. The legal trap tightens, how the feds could catch Victor in the act. If Phyllis cracks and her confession is documented, the next phase could shift from emotional fallout to federal intervention. Experts in cybercrime often work alongside multi-agency task forces such as the FBI's Cyber Division or national investigative groups specializing in digital threats. If the stolen AI was used to breach corporate servers, federal investigators would have jurisdiction and the technical tools to trace the attack back to its source. This could play out in several ways. 1. A monitored trap inside Abbott or Arabesque servers. A defensive counter-AI or tracing program could be placed inside vulnerable systems. If Victor deploys his AI again, its origin could be tracked directly to his devices or servers. 2. A controlled sting operation. If Phyllis agrees to cooperate, she could record private conversations with Victor, capturing him admitting his involvement or future plans. Immunity deals for cyber theft are not uncommon when whistleblowers offer substantial evidence. 3. A forensic audit of Arabesque's attack. If investigators gain access, they could analyze digital signatures left by the rogue AI. A match to Newman's servers, or to systems associated with Victor, would be devastating for his defense. Michael Baldwin has pulled off miracles to save Victor before, but cybercrime is a different battlefield. Forensic evidence doesn't bend easily, and judges don't take kindly to billionaires playing God with illegal software. Victor could, for the first time in a long while, find himself outmaneuvered. Fans demand a turning point. Enough is enough. If there's one sentiment fans across social platforms share, it's exhaustion with Victor's perpetual victories. Viewers have watched him topple company after company, break laws with impunity, manipulate family members, and walk away with little more than a warning. His treatment of Jack, especially after Jack risked his well-being to save Nikki, has struck a nerve with many fans. Rather than gratitude, Victor returned to antagonism, and Nikki, despite knowing the truth behind the AI program, continues to defend him. This pattern has fueled criticism not just toward Victor, but toward the show's creative direction. Many longtime viewers feel it's time for a meaningful shift, time for Victor to be held accountable in a way that doesn't get erased 2 weeks later. A prison storyline, a corporate takedown, or even a public scandal would provide consequences the character has avoided for years. A potential turning tide for the mustache. With Jack fortifying Jabot, Diane closing in on evidence, Phyllis wrestling with her conscience, and multiple enemies hungry for justice, Victor is surrounded more tightly than he realizes. The dominoes are aligned perfectly. All it takes is one confession or one miscalculated move to send the Newman juggernaut crashing down. Whether the writers let that happen remains the biggest question. Will Victor finally face a real reckoning? Or will another twist allow him to slip away untouched once again? For now, the sharks are circling, and this time, Victor isn't the one stalking the waters. Today's next update. Y&R shocker, Matt corners Noah and Sienna as Victor's cash offer backfires in Los Angeles. Wednesday's episode of The Young and the Restless delivered a tense series of developments as the search for Noah Newman reached a terrifying new stage. What began as a frantic chase through Los Angeles turned into a psychological battlefield involving Victor Newman, two detectives playing a dangerous double game, and Matt Clark's growing obsession with revenge. Sharon and Nick panic as their lead goes cold. After scouring an abandoned warehouse filled with addicts, Sharon and Nick are left devastated when they discover no trace of Noah. Detective Burrow and Detective Annie Stewart assure them that Noah definitely wasn't inside and begin analyzing Matt's desire to manipulate everyone searching for the truth. Burrow promises to set up a face-to-face meeting with Matt while reminding Sharon and Nick that Matt sees him as nothing more than a compromised, dirty cop. But the moment the detectives leave, another twist emerges. A drug addict hanging nearby claims he might have seen Noah with a woman who appeared equally strung out. Nick hands over cash, and for $200, the addict paints a grim picture of Noah wandering the area in rough shape. What Nick and Sharon don't know is that this entire encounter was orchestrated by Matt, and Burrow later confirms he arranged the phony tip. Matt is essentially choreographing every step of the Newmans' investigation. Victor arrives in LA, but Matt won't take the bait. After realizing that Nick left the hotel, Victor makes a beeline for the shadow room, Matt's base of operations. Immediately recognizing the man behind the Mitch Bacall alias, Victor calls him out by his real name. Matt keeps up the facade, claiming he has no idea who Victor is, but Victor isn't fooled for a second. During their tense exchange, Matt complains about the Newman family invading his space, while Victor makes it clear he could crush Matt if pushed. Even as Victor demands information about Noah, Matt stonewalls him. Instead, he throws Noah's romantic past in Victor's face, claiming Noah's relationship with Sienna wrecked Matt's life. Matt even implies Sienna is battling addiction and may have dragged Noah down with her. Victor attempts to buy information, but surprisingly, Matt refuses to take a dime. His intentions have clearly shifted. This isn't about extortion anymore. It's personal. Matt raises the stakes, and Noah attempts his escape. After Victor leaves, Matt and Detective Burrow regroup. Burrow worries Victor's arrival could derail everything, but Matt seems energized. He hints that Victor's involvement only heightens the game he's playing and that it's time to level up. Meanwhile, imprisoned in a locked room, Noah discovers a possible method of escape. Realizing that the hinges on the door might come off, he asks Sienna for anything he can use as a tool. She hands over her necklace, and Noah works the hinges loose until the door can be lifted free. For a moment, freedom feels within reach. But just as Noah and Sienna prepare to bolt, Matt and Detective Burrow appear in the doorway, blocking them. Their escape attempt, though clever, has been intercepted. The Newmans regroup, and Victor has a plan. Back at the hotel, Victor reconnects with Sharon and Nick and explains his tense showdown with Matt. He concludes that Matt isn't interested in a payout at all. This is about payback, and Victor suspects he knows exactly why. Nick and Sharon mention the encounter with the drug addict, which quickly raises red flags. Victor immediately identifies it as a setup, another reminder that Matt is controlling the narrative. With Noah's life hanging in the balance and all their leads compromised, the Newmans are desperate. Victor admits he has an idea, one bold enough to force Matt's hand and reveal Noah's true location. What that idea is remains a mystery, but Victor Newman rarely enters a battle without a strategy that hits hard. Today's next update. Jack's nuclear option, Jabot's shutdown plan could flip his entire war with Victor on YNR. The December 2nd episode of The Young and the Restless pushed Jack Abbott into the most consequential crossroads of his career. With Victor Newman's stolen AI capable of obliterating companies in minutes, Jack began preparing a move that stunned even his closest allies, shutting down Jabot's entire digital infrastructure before Victor can strike. It isn't a scare tactic. It isn't a last-minute bluff. It's a full retreat meant to save the company from the kind of cyber assault that destroyed Arabesque and left Kane Ashby surrendering everything he built. This time, Jack isn't aiming for victory, he's fighting for survival. Jack weighs the unthinkable, a total offline freeze. Jack walks Diane through his thinking. No amount of cybersecurity could withstand the rogue AI Victor now controls. The program, stolen, upgraded, and fired like a weapon, had already crushed Kane's business in a single blow. Nothing in Jabot's system could promise immunity. Jack explains the radical alternative: take Jabot completely offline for months. No manufacturing network. No e-commerce platform. No internal server activity. A full digital blackout would essentially make Jabot invisible to AI-based attacks. It would also grind operations to a crawl and risk millions. But Jack sees something no one else can ignore: staying online means placing Jabot on a silver platter for Victor. Diane listens, torn. The plan is dangerous, expensive, disruptive, and possibly the only way out. Kane's collapse changes everything. Kane's surrender reverberates through Genoa City like a warning siren. Walking into Victor's home and handing over the remnants of Arabesque wasn't just a concession, it was a message to every executive in town. Victor's new weapon works, and he's willing to use it without hesitation. Jack has always prided himself on outmaneuvering Victor through corporate chess moves, legal pushback, and family unity. But Kane's demise reveals a different battlefield altogether. Victor isn't using traditional business leverage anymore. He's using technological force that strikes faster than any boardroom vote. For Jack, the lesson is simple: if a company stays online, it stays vulnerable. Why Jack's move redefines the feud. Shutting down Jabot is more than a defensive tactic, it is a transformation of the Abbott-Newman rivalry. Victor thrives when corporations stay predictable. He counts on schedules, launches, digital footprints, and visible strategy. But a digital blackout is something he can't anticipate or manipulate. If Jabot's servers vanish from the grid, Victor's AI loses its advantage before it ever enters the ring. Jack is essentially telling Victor, "If you want to fight, you'll have to do it without the weapon you stole." For the first time in years, Jack is shifting the terms of their conflict instead of reacting to Victor's family shockwaves and business risks. Inside the Abbott family, the announcement hits hard. Jabot hasn't just been a company, it has been the soul of the family for decades. The idea of shutting it down, even temporarily, feels like closing the doors on John Abbott's memory. Diane fears the consequences but never wavers in her support. She recognizes the weight Jack carries and the impossible nature of his decision. Billy sees the ripple effects looming over Abbott communications. He understands that Victor's growing hostility has placed more than one Abbott venture at risk. A shutdown at Jabot could spark investor panic or trigger boardroom rebellion. Yet Billy also knows it may be the only move that protects their future. Ashley, Kyle, Tracy, and the rest of the family brace themselves for fallout, both emotional and financial. What comes next? If Jack executes the shutdown, the consequences will shake Genoa City. Employees will fear layoffs. Competitors will sense weakness. Investors will demand answers. And Victor will face a counter he never expected. Most importantly, shutting down Jabot removes Victor's greatest tool and forces him into a new arena, one where his AI has no power. Jack's decision marks a turning point in his decades-long battle with Victor. It's not an act of surrender. It's a declaration that the Abbott legacy will not be sacrificed to a stolen piece of technology. Whether the plan saves Jabot or plunges it into deeper crisis, one thing is clear. The war between Jack and Victor is entering a new era, and nothing about it will ever be the same. Today's next update. Y&R, Victor's bold trap leaves Sharon and Nick backing his riskiest Matt move yet. The drama on The Young and the Restless intensifies on Thursday, December 4th, as Sharon and Nick Newman find themselves in the uncomfortable position of approving one of Victor's most controversial tactics yet. With their son Noah still missing and held by the unhinged Matt Clark, now operating under the persona of Mitch Bacall, desperation pushes them into Victor's shadowy strategy. For the Newmans, this isn't about playing fair. It's about bringing Noah home alive. Sharon and Nick turn to Victor's dark expertise. Sharon and Nick have run out of time, leads, and patience. Every attempt to get information has been filtered through Matt's manipulation, and Noah's trail has only grown colder. With fear building by the hour, Victor steps in with a plan he assures them will force Matt into submission. Victor doesn't soften the truth. Matt is far more unstable than any of them realized. But he claims he knows how to break through Matt's arrogance and pull him into a corner with a move he won't be able to ignore. Sharon and Nick are hesitant, but Victor's confidence, or sheer audacity, convinces them. They agree to back whatever tactic he's preparing, even though the risks are painfully clear. Still, both parents cling to Victor's insistence that he'll keep Noah safe, even though they all know it's a promise no one can realistically make. Victor's strategy, a pressure point Matt didn't expect. Victor wastes no time executing his plan, setting up a maneuver designed to destabilize Matt and steal control of the situation. The details remain tightly guarded, but he assures Sharon and Nick that this will shift the power dynamic dramatically. And Victor's instincts are correct. Once Matt learns that Victor has altered the landscape of their conflict, anger flares. Matt thrives on control, and Victor's interference strikes directly at his ego. Even so, the move forces him into a temporary stalemate, and that alone gives the Newmans an opening. Victor may not be able to predict Matt's reactions, but he knows better than anyone how to manipulate an adversary into making mistakes. Matt tightens his grip on Noah and Sienna. While Victor's trap is being set, Matt unleashes his own brand of intimidation on Noah and Sienna. Their attempted escape only enrages him further, and he corners them with Detective Burrow close by, the dirty cop who remains entangled in Matt's twisted schemes. Noah faces Matt's threats head-on, especially when Sienna becomes the target of Matt's escalating temper. With her life hanging in the balance, Noah may finally break and admit the truth about the affair that sparked this entire spiral. He'll plead for Sienna's safety, even if it means exposing every detail Matt doesn't want to hear. To make matters worse, Matt may push Noah into believing that Nick and Sharon are in immediate danger, deepening the psychological warfare. Every move Matt makes seems designed to isolate Noah and strip him of hope, but he hasn't yet realized that Victor is quietly moving his chess pieces. Victor's counterstrike, the master manipulator, returns. Once Victor delivers the first blow of his plan, Matt is left shaken by news he didn't expect. Victor's message is clear: Matt might be dangerous, but he's not invincible. And he's certainly not in charge. The upcoming showdown between Victor and Matt promises a clash of egos, gamesmanship, and outright manipulation. Matt may believe he's holding all the cards, but Victor intends to prove that the deck was never his to begin with. Today's next update. How Phyllis and Kane's almost romance imploded before it ever took off on the young and the restless. Genoa City is no stranger to fiery entanglements, but few potential pairings have burned out as fast and as dramatically as Phyllis Summers and Kane Ashby. What could have been one of the show's most electric new romances collapsed under the weight of ambition, mistrust, and two very stubborn personalities who simply couldn't stop battling for the upper hand. Their dynamic had all the ingredients of a gripping love story, yet somewhere between the passion and the power plays, Phyllis and Kane managed to sabotage themselves before they ever really began. A spark that never had a chance. Viewers were quick to latch onto the chemistry between Phyllis and Kane during their early flirtations. They shared the kind of heat that the young and the restless has been sorely missing in recent months, two sharp, driven adults who didn't want to fall for each other but did anyway, even if only for a moment. But sparks alone can't sustain a pairing if the foundation beneath them is cracking. Behind the scenes of their attraction was a messy history of secrets and shifting loyalties. Kane felt betrayed long before their romance even solidified, and Phyllis approached the connection with more calculation than vulnerability. Instead of building something real, they built walls. Egos, ambition, and one very stolen program. Their latest run-in underscored the root of their downfall: neither Phyllis nor Kane is capable of stepping aside. Both want control, both want to lead the game, and both believe they're the smartest person in any room, including each other's. The tension truly ignited when Kane confronted Phyllis about a missing AI program, something he had poured his heart, money, and last shred of dignity into after his business collapsed. While Kane admitted he'd been blinded by power and greed in the past, Phyllis refused to give him the sympathy he hoped for. Instead, she deflected, diverted, and redirected the conversation toward Lily, an emotional sore spot that only deepened the divide. Kane knew what Phyllis hoped he wouldn't, that she had accessed his system, bypassed every safeguard, and used his AI project in a deal that ultimately benefited her ambitions. The issue wasn't merely that she took something, it was that she took the one thing he still considered proof he could rebuild his life. The burden of old flames. Kane's Thanksgiving conversation with Lily was the final straw for Phyllis, who suddenly found herself rattled, jealous, and unable to admit it. Instead, she lashed out, because that's what Phyllis does when the ground shifts under her feet. Their earlier romantic moment was overshadowed by insecurities neither of them wanted to acknowledge. Lily, unintentionally, became a symbol of everything Phyllis feared about Kane, that he wasn't over his past, and that she would always come second to either another woman or Kane's own ego. Phyllis wants power, not partnership. For Phyllis, ambition isn't optional, it's oxygen. She wants independence, dominance in the tech world, and the freedom to build an empire without being questioned. Cain, however, wanted both a partner and a powerhouse. He saw Phyllis as someone who could help him rebuild. But Phyllis doesn't build anything unless she gets the biggest say. Cain isn't wired to hand over control. That made them combustible, exciting in the moment, but impossible in the long run. When Cain imagined a future collaboration, Phyllis saw a threat to her autonomy. When Phyllis tried to distract Cain with romance, he couldn't ignore the betrayal still hanging between them. This is why they crashed so spectacularly. They simply refused to stop trying to win. What's next in Genoa City? The 5 biggest December shockers. As the Phyllis-Cain situation implodes, the rest of Genoa City is gearing up for a December filled with twists, emotional breakthroughs, and unexpected romantic turns. 1. Michael's grand anniversary surprise. Michael Baldwin is preparing an unforgettable tribute to 2 decades of marriage with Lauren. A standalone anniversary episode will shine the spotlight on their relationship, and Michael's heartfelt gesture promises to be one of the month's warmest moments. 2. Lily reconsiders Cain. Even as Cain's world spins out, Lily will reportedly examine her feelings to see whether a future with Cain is still possible. Could she become the emotional anchor he's been missing, or will Phyllis derail any chance of a reunion? 3. Noah makes a life-changing promise. Noah Newman is ready to take a huge step in his commitment to Sienna. Whether it's a proposal or a bold plan to build a life together, Noah is prepared to prove he'll stand by her, no matter how dangerous Matt Clark's shadow becomes. 4. Sharon and Nick revisit old feelings. After surviving their chaotic trip and everything it revealed, Sharon and Nick return home with a renewed bond. As they reflect on their journey, they may find themselves closer than they've been in years, just in time for the holidays. 5. Victor and Nikki's Christmas calm before the storm. Victor and Nikki embrace holiday peace, taking a moment to feel grateful, though that serenity may not last. Matt's next round of chaos is approaching Genoa City, and the Newmans will soon be pulled right back into the fire. For more of the latest updates and behind-the-scenes secrets from Young and the Restless, make sure to hit subscribe and ring that bell. Stay in the know with every new release.